we made for simulator tests. All right, when we talked about cutoff, and I also made a promise that I will come up with a follow-up video with a list of mistakes and some basic rules that we have to follow during the last days. All right, so there are some common mistakes that people generally make, and that can be if we have some knowledge and if we are able to know it from before, it helps in avoiding those mistakes. Sorry. And the second is that there are certain golden rules that you have to follow. See, right now when the exam comes nearer, all right, so it is very likely or it is very easy for us to develop a lot of issues of anxiety, and we are under a lot of pressure. So all these things, they are a complete opposite of our productivity. All right, it is very difficult to be productivity with those both these things happening. All right, anxiety and pressure. So therefore we are not able to be productive. So we'll discuss some ways where we can increase our productivity. Second is the weather is also very enervating, at least in North India. So this is the time where you'll be very dehydrated, you'll be very sleepy, you'll be very tired, and it's going to be very sleepy all throughout the day. नींद बहुत आएगी इस समय. So therefore that itself creates a lot of challenges for us. So anyway, so let us begin with some of the key things that you have to keep in mind. So the first thing that I'd want to talk about today is that when the exam comes near, a common error that people make is picking up new material. So most of the times what will happen is before the exam some new material will come. So one thing that I would want you to tell is that अगर किसी को fail कराना है तो उसको नई material दे दो. All right. By this time, in my opinion, you should have frozen where you are going to stop follow and what you are going to follow. All right. I'm telling you that in the past 10 years or so, it has never happened that right before the examination, a new material has come and all the questions UPSC has asked from there. It has not happened. ऑल राइट, अभी तक मेरी हिस्ट्री मेरी नॉलेज में 10 साल में ऐसा नहीं हुआ है कि लास्ट मोमेंट में या एग्जाम के 1 महीने पहले कोई मटेरियल आया और सारे क्वेश्चन वहां से आ गए. सो सबसे पहले मेक श्योर दैट यू आर नॉट picking up any new material right before the examination. You must have already frozen your material. All right, so do not be greedy at all. If you're greedy and picking up a new material, then that's a very big challenge. Then it means that you lack self control over yourself. See, we are going to be gluttony and greedy over new sources, over new things. All right, so make sure that greed and glutton is not there. Restrict yourself to less number of things. Also, if you have an enemy, if you have a flatmate or a friend whom you don't like, all right, take a printout of a new material from any popular website or any popular coaching or even your own self-made material and you give it to him. It is a short way. All right, to to make someone flunk. Okay, so do not pick up any new material, no matter how lucrative it looks. If you is some material you have, is some magazine that is you have already been following, you revise it. Trust me, that is what will save you. The second thing I would want to talk about is that about the concept of golden hour. See, we are living in a times of distraction. All right, there's digital distraction. There's so many things. You'll already have a mailer by morning. You will have something come up. All right, and because right now we have a lot of anxiety, we have pressure, we may have some negative thoughts. So make sure that after waking up, within 30 minutes of waking up, you must get to studies. Make it a rule. Whatever you do within 30 minutes of here, an exception is there that if you have some exercise regime, that's perfectly all right, make an exception for it. But if you do not have an early morning exercise regime, within 30 minutes of waking up you must get sit to studies. See, if those 30 minutes are wasted, then it is very likely that you are going to end up wasting 2 or 3 hours in just sitting to study. All right, so some people are going to in the coming days, because of change of weather and change of surroundings, because of coronavirus, right now a lot of people have shifted to homes जहाँ पर थोड़ा माहौल कम है पढ़ाई का. All right, some people may have shifted to homes where they have to stay with friends, with family, with relatives, where everybody would be telling you that exam will postpone and stuff like that. Or sometimes people may not even understand that why you are so scared about the examination, or why you are so emotionally invested in the examination. All right, so make sure that if you have change of surroundings or wherever you are, after waking up within 30 minutes, sit in a table or chair or whatever is your comfort position, sit and start studying. All right, I would say that you can begin your day not. See, it is very important that after 3 or 4 hours of the day, after waking up, you must have achieved something tangible. All right, this achievement is very important, otherwise you are going to get demotivated. So I would recommend that after waking up, it is a good idea to solve questions. So that is the third thing here, is that all throughout these days, the remaining days that we have, be in a problem solving mode. All right. Be in a problem solving mode means, by which I mean to say, is that it is fairly acceptable if you wake up and then you start solving a problem and then you navigate through the day. All right. So the thing is, after solving problems, you navigate through the day. Navigate through the day. What do I mean by navigate through the day? Navigate through the day, with a list of items. क्या करना है? What are the things that you're going to do? All right. So if you are not very good at making such list, this is what is going to help you. In the morning, I would say that at least begin your day with solving a paper. You know. So if you can't now, obviously, some people will say that solve a full length paper. Somebody will say that solve 50 questions. Somebody is going to say that solve 25 questions. What I'm going to tell you here is that solve as many questions as you can, subject to the condition that you don't get tired. If you are going to feel tired after solving one full length paper, and then if for the rest of the you can't study, then I would say that solve a half length paper, 50 questions. If you feel tired after solving a 50 questions test, then it is better that you solve a 25 paper, 25 questions test. But I would say that it is, and then you make a list of things that you don't know from there, and then on the basis of that list, the questions that you don't know, or questions you've gotten wrong, you make a list and study according to that list. All right. So why I'm saying this is because this will help you reduce you right now. What you have to do is reduce the number of decisions that you make. All right. You must have heard that Mark Zuckerberg, wears the same T-shirt every day. What is the reason? He says that I don't want to get into a decision fatigue. I don't want to make every morning I wake up. I do not want to make a decision what clothes I have to wear. So this is something that is very crucial at this stage in the examination for you also. Do not spend your day deciding things. Some people will spend up to 3-4 बज जाएंगे शाम के. By 3 or 4 p.m. they have not decided what to study for the day. All right. So make sure that you are not that person. You have something already in your mind. You have something like a task list already in your mind. All right. With respect to what you have to do. And this is where I say that you have to navigate through the day, not aimlessly, not mindlessly, but through a list of items. Here again, I would say is that we have always told you that read the basic book as many times. Here at this, as the exam comes near, I would also want you to tell you is that um, you must not merely read the basic books, because after a certain number of revisions you will not be able to pick up things. So you will also have to read the basic books by going back on the basis of a list of questions or topics or concepts that you have gotten wrong in a test. All right, is समय तक, by this time you should be so frustrated with reading the books that you would want to solve a question and get back to a concept. All right, in solving it. All right. Then the sixth thing that I'd want to tell you here is that, see, I think I've said in the previous video also, see, right now you have to study, about 10.5 to 11 hours. This is the number of sittings that you need to have. 10:30-11 घंटे, that is the minimum number of sittings you want to have. I would want to tell you this is that this is not something that I would say for the mains examination. मेंस एग्जामिनेशन में अगर आप कम पढ़ोगे तो चलेगा. प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन में ज़्यादा पढ़ना पड़ता है. वी हैव टू स्टडी मोर इन द प्रीलिम्स एग्जामिनेशन. All right, so you must sit for 10.5 or 11 hours at least, out of which you will have 8 hours of productive studies. All right, 8 hours of productive studies and about 5.5 hours of, what I call the laser beam focus. Whether you had a very focused study, you do a laser beam focus study, by which I mean to say is that everything you've studied during that time is getting into your head. See, here when I talk about laser beam focus, I mean to say is that, see, when you study for 11-12 hours, now 11-12 hours is the number of hours of sitting. All right, when you're this, then you get into the zone. There is a certain zone of studies, and I'm sure that you must have experienced it, and you should experience it. There is a zone. Your mind will be in a certain zone where it will be high focus zone. All right. So you will be in that zone, and that will be about 5.5 hours, and you will be doing tremendous in that. All right. So make sure that you are having these many hours. All right. And then seventh thing that I want to tell you is, see, we have to remember that different subjects have different recallability. All right, recallability. It depends on subjects. So you have to make sure that you are having a plan such that, for example, I'll give you. If polity is there, अगर पॉलिटी को अगर लेते हैं, you must have studied it before the exam. All right, before the exam, at least 15 days before the exam, 12 to 15 days before the exam, you must be revising it. All right, with respect to polity, 12 to 15 days, even if you do not revise it just 5 days or 10 days before the examination, you can get away with it. All right. But 12 to 15 days before the examination, you have to revise it. Like now take another subject like economy. With economy, I would say that 20 to 25 days before the examination, you must be revising it. Even if you don't revise it, you are not able to read it in the last week or last 15 days, it is perfectly all right. Now I take a subject like modern history. All right, modern history must be studied at least 3 to 5 days before the exam. Otherwise, you will get the question wrong. Wavell plan, Shimla plan, all these things, and Mountbatten plan, Desai Liaquat Pact, you are going to mess it up. You will not be able to even make a question. You'll get a question on Montague Chelmsford reforms versus, Minto Morley reforms, and you will get that question wrong. All right, so you have to study modern history 3 to 5 days before the exam. When it comes to, for example, art and culture, I would very clearly say that at least 1 to 3 days before the exam, you will have to study this or revise this. Otherwise, you'll not be. This is for your satisfaction. Technically, the return on investment in art and culture is very low. All right, and I have seen that often humanities students, they will keep solving temple questions, keep solving art and culture questions. All right, so again, because they do not have a certain liking for economy and sometimes for polity. All right, so वो बहुत पढ़ते हैं ऐसा. But yes, I would say that 1 to 3 days before the examination, you will have to probably do it. Otherwise, you are not going to answer questions from there. ठीक है. Then when it comes to environment, all right, then again with respect to environment, you must study it. Barring some certain actor, you must be studying it 10 to 12 days before the examination. All right, but 12 to 10 to 12 days before the examination. Science and tech, as it is, you can study it like 15-20 days. 15-20 days before the exam, and you will still be able to remember things. You either know it or you don't know it. All right. Then the next thing that I would want to tell you here is with respect to your examination is please make sure that you are not, your digital consumption is not, jeopardizing your padhai, is not hampering this. Digital consumption is not, interfering with your studies. Why I'm saying this is, see, right now times have changed, but conventionally and classically you've heard that UPSC is a, civil services examination is a tapasya. And what does tapasya mean? It means giving up. All right, so you have to disconnect from everything and then you need to sit and study. So here now, obviously, the times that we are living in, you don't even have the option of non-smartphones, right? Every phone that is there is an Android or a smartphone with all basic internet abilities. All right, and secondly, because of the lockdown, we are continuously hooked with devices. But I can tell you that even last year, all right, the last result I can tell you there are a lot of people, like for example, Yo-Yo Choti Singh on this forum itself. All right, he got selected into IPS 1404 rank. Jitendra, he got IPS and IAS later. All right, so all these people I still remember before the mains examination. So they used to have a window. They used to say, कि sir, मैं 5 बजे आपको phone करूँगा. Please 5 to 5:30 is the only time when I can make a phone call because I do not keep my phone with myself. And then again 10 to 10:30 p.m. is the time when I'll talk because, and I'm using that Nokia wala phone. I've gotten a second hand phone and I keep it switched off, and I do not use a smartphone during the examination. So I can tell you that most of the people I know, all right, under 100, I think that at least in under 100 rank last year, at least 35 people would, are the ones that I have been able to interact with. All right, before their mains examination, before their interview, 35 people whom I remember. And I can tell you that out of 35 people, the working candidates, they used to use smartphones and they used to prepare from it. But I would say that apart from that, out of the 35 people who got under 100 rank last year, I would say at least 12 to 15 people were the ones who had completely given up smartphones before the examination. So while I would not go ahead and say that give up a smartphone, but I would say that your strategy has to be fixed hours of using the phone. You can't be using the phone to satisfy your curiosity every time you find a new concept. If you are trying to, फट से पढ़ने की अगर आपको आदत है कि you don't know something and you're googling it, I would again say make a list, make a bloody list. All right, make a list and use it at the end of the day to satisfy your curiosity. All right. So here again, I would say is, you see, second, then another thing here is, see, I do understand that, there is a certain limitation to how much we can reduce our digital consumption. So here again, I would say is that replace, your online time or screen time with productive things. All right. What do I mean by this? By which I mean to say is, in the last video, as we talked about creating list, I would say that please go ahead and search those lists in Google, and again do it list wise. All right, and strike off those items from the list once you read about it. मेरा ये कहने का मतलब है कि ऑनलाइन जाएं, उस कीवर्ड को सर्च करें, रीड समथिंग फ्रॉम अ वेबसाइट और विकिपीडिया अबाउट द टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट्स. दैट इज द वन ऑफ द प्लेसेस वेयर यूपीएससी आस्क क्वेश्चंस, स्पेशली विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू करंट और विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू इन्वायरमेंट वाले क्वेश्चंस. वहां पर फैक्ट्स रहते हैं, यूपीएससी इज नोन टू आस्क क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम देयर. So you make a list, and for example, you do not remember IUCN. So for example, you do not know about diclofenac. All right, the magic medicine that is leading for renal failure in vultures. All right, it is recommended that you read those things from Wikipedia. So if you keep designated 2.5, 3 hours for using the internet and using it, okay, and or solving questions on the internet, for example, all right, to make sure that you have designated time for it. It is not that you are doing that all throughout the day. That should not be the case. All right. So these are some of the things that I wanted to say. Then, yes, one more thing that I'd want to say is set the bar high for yourself. See, whatever test series you are joining, बिल्कुल ऐसे मत सोचो कि I always hear candidates, they said what was the cutoff, and then they're saying, okay, so 95 was the cutoff, I was getting 90 marks. That is so not a good way to plan how much marks we need. This last year also, 2019 prelims when happened. So I was speaking to a lot of students. I still remember one of my students, Chirag. So I think he had secured ninth or 10th rank in forest, and around 350 rank in civils. Okay. And there were at least 15, 20 people whom I was concerned with. I still remember when they called after the exam, I asked them कितने number आ रहे हैं, and they said कि sir 125 plus आ जाएगा, not a problem. And then there was another set of students who had पहले से decided that they are focusing obsessed with the cutoff. Don't obsess with the cutoff. Don't think like that. Let me tell you one more thing. So before this prelims, we were very concerned about the forum is like from there from 2012. All right. So one thing that was there is that I invariably saw that when people used to write the mains examination and then they have not been able to get an interview call. All right. So there were two approaches to it. One was the candidate who used to say, "Ki, sir, the cutoff is 745 and I'm getting 741. So 4 marks I have lost, and therefore I did lost the interview call." Why I'm saying this, giving this example, is the people who finally got into top 100 ranks and got IAS were not the ones जो ये सोच रहे थे कि 4 नंबर से मेरा छूट गया. Now, this is not a banking or SSC examination, where like the rest of the India, you were saying that मेरा 2 नंबर से नहीं हुआ, मेरा 1 नंबर से नहीं हुआ. All right, जिनका निकलना रहता है वो अच्छे खासे मार्जिन से निकल जाते हैं, है ना. एंड अगर आपको 1 नंबर से निकल रहा है, लेट इट बी mere anecdotal, let it be an accident, let it should not be a structured तरीका. ठीक है. So when see, the thing is, when a student comes and says कि sir mains cutoff is 745, I'm getting 741 and just 4 marks is the gap, trust me, the bar is so low for him. Now he's saying कि मेरा 4 नंबर बढ़ जाएगा, then I'll get an interview call. The truth is, at least he is 150 marks less than, 150 to 200 marks less than the final list. All right, the people who are making it are getting at least the highest scorer. His comparison has to be from the highest scorer of the mains examination. 745 is the cutoff. The people who have made it have gotten 890 or 900 marks. All right. So unless you think that that gap you have to match, unless the person, if you are getting 741 marks in the mains, the topper has gotten 900 marks in the mains examination, you have to think like that. I need 150 marks more. Otherwise, you'll not be able to make a good plan. I don't know how to increase 4 marks. All right. But if you say that, sir, I need to increase 150 or 200 marks, then we can work on it. All right. You can work on it. All right. So similarly for prelims also, don't think that the cutoff is 95 and I've got a 97, or I'm getting 91 and 4 marks I'm losing it. You simply think that at least I have to get 10 to 15% marks at least, and up to 20% marks more than the cutoff. And it is not a difficult thing to do. In the last video, we have talked about how you'll be solving and conquering a paper. ऑल राइट, जिनके नंबर 30, 40, 50, 60 आते हैं, वो ये होता है कि दे आर नॉट कॉन्करिंग दैट पेपर एंड दे मूव ऑन टू अनदर पेपर, दे आर सॉल्विंग इट एंड दे आर नॉट हैविंग एन इंक्रीज इन मार्क्स. All right, so first is don't set the bar so, set the bar high for yourself that okay, 95 is the cutoff, I'm getting 93, I need 120 or 125 marks. I don't need 95 marks. मुझे तीन नंबर नहीं बढ़ाने हैं. It is stupid to sing. It's just that, if I ask you how much weight do you want to lose, and you say, sir, I want to lose 150 grams, no dietitian can help you. They can't figure out how to lose 150, but you say that I need to lose like 7 kgs. You can have an action plan for that. All right. So please make sure that uh, you have the buy your standards high for yourself. Okay, I'm fine if 95 is the cutoff by in the simulator test, and I'm getting 95, 97, but that is not good. I must get at least 115, 118 marks because people are getting and they are not any intelligent than you. The only thing that they would be doing right is that they would be revising very well. All right. Then yet another thing that I want to tell you here is uh, let's see. In the first point, I told you that why don't pick up new material, and you will always have the fear of missing out that some new material has come and it looks damn good. The font and all is very nice. See what happens is now let us calculate or try to learn backwards. What happens when a person writes the prelims examination? What is his regret? His regret is not that this question, or there were 10 questions that were in the paper and they were in this study material and it did not have that study material. In the history of the examination, that has not happened. People have one common regret. There was one simple question and I knew it. It was there in the book. I had studied it and I got it wrong. All right. So it doesn't happen that somebody says that I did not study this last material from which all the UPSC question has come. That has not happened. What has happened is simple question came and I got my simple questions wrong. So make sure that you are doing your revisions well. Make sure that you are not increasing your number of sources, and make sure you're doing things again and again so that you do not have the regret of missing out on the easy questions. Remember the golden rule and the ground rule that people want, beyond a point. Once you are in the race, all right, when you're in the race, if हम miss करते हैं race not because unique questions were not solved, we miss the race because the simplest questions were not solved. So make sure that exam gadbad, you are not getting the easy questions wrong, and the way to do it is revising things. All right, and then lastly is balance. This balance is very important. A lot of people keep asking that should I be solving questions or should I be reading the basic test. So basically you should do what you have not done well. If you have been just reading books, you should be solving tests. If you have been solving fair amount of tests, for example you have been solving SFG test, I would say that you have plenty of things to revise, you have plenty of tests to revise. So you should not be just solving tests mindlessly. All right, you have to have a fair balance. You should be solving papers. If you have not done enough of it, do not have this regret that oh, I was only behind reading, I did not solve any of the papers. And secondly, do not do the other way also, that you're only solving papers, you're not reading the basic books. Now you will hear that a lot of toppers will say that no, you must solve a lot of papers. But sir, we try to understand that there is something called first attempt, second attempt, third attempt for most a lot of people. I don't want to demotivate you, but that is the truth for us, because for a lot of people. So what happens is in first attempt, if as long as you are, if you're not, some people will have read the basic books very well. All right, and let us say he does not get IS, he gets through the mains, he gets through the interview, then something goes wrong. All right, in the third attempt, he does not have the appetite to read the book, so he's just solving papers so that he's in a problem solving mode. He's solving papers. Why? So that he's in a problem solving mode. पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है उसकी. Alright, so this solving papers ensure that he's in the problem solving mode. Alright, and when he clears it, he says that I was only solving papers. He's not telling you that in the previous attempt he has read the books. And secondly, he's assuming that just like he has read the books, you have also read the books. But he's not realizing that you may be one of those people who has not read the book and you're just solving the paper. Okay, so this is all that I wanted to say, and so I'll just repeat it once for all. See, the first thing that I'd want you to do is that do not pick up new material. You must have frozen that this is where I'm going to study from and stick to it. Even if a material has the most beautiful font, if something looks very lucrative, I can tell you for the last 10 years, I do not know before that, but at least for the last 10 years, I can tell you that it has not happened that last moment of material has come and all the questions of UPSC have come from there. It has not happened. And I can tell you that in these 10 years, it has always as seemed as if the master material has come and all questions will come from it, but that has never happened. All right, the paper is very fairly distributed, that it is not from, it is not taken from one source. Then second, as I said, is that please use the golden hour. 30 minutes, within 30 minutes of waking up you should study. By the first half of the day you should have achieved something tangible. I recommend solving problems, solving questions in them, by because then you will have achieved something, and second, it will help you navigate well through the day. Then reduce the number of decisions that you take. In the morning after waking up, you should not be thinking aaj kya kare. You should have a plan beforehand. All right, then at least 10 and a half to 11 hours you should have a sitting, out of which you will have five and a half hours of very zoned out studies, and that is going to take you places. And during this time I can tell you that a lot of people develop nearsightedness. that is temporary, है ना, इस समय चश्मे का पावर थोड़ा बढ़ जाता है. ठीक है, so that is temporary. This will happen, this will get over after the prelims examination is over, and within 5 to 7 days the eye also adjusts back. So it is not permanent. However, you can pursue a little bit of eye exercises to ensure that it does not hamper your eyesight, and it is fairly normal for a lot of people to develop nearsightedness because of long hours of studying. So that is normal, and it will get back fine after a few days once you stop looking at the paper after the examination. All right. Then, as I said, is you should plan in a manner where, for example, subjects like economy, they are very logical subjects. Questions will either come conceptual. So once you understand it, you don't need to revise it too many times. All right, and therefore you can even study 20 to 25 days before the examination and not look at it at the last moment. Apart from that, current affair questions will come from economy. Polity again can require some revision. Modern history requires much more revision. Art and culture, maximum revision. Environment has certain parts which are logical and do not require as much revision. Science and tech does not require too much revision. 2 or 3 times is enough. All right. And then I said that with respect to digital consumption, limit the number of hours at which you are going to consume digital products, and get replace good utilization of the time. Replace bad utilization of the time with good utilization. You should be only interacting in social groups of civil services aspirants. So do not try to have a social grouping of your people from other segments. I would not recommend it. Then again, I would say is do not think like yesterday. Also, I was having a call with a student, and he said that so 95 is the cutoff. I'm getting 93, so I'm very close. But that cannot be a thought process. You have to think like 120, 125 marks. तो लगेगा कि 30 नंबर के लिए काम करना है. If you're thinking of 2 marks, then it's difficult. It's a gap so narrow that you don't know how to bridge it. Then I said about balance, that what you should be doing more, you should be doing more of what you have not done. All right, so do not, by which I mean to say, some people have the hobby of studying only polity. All right, some people have the hobby of studying only art and culture. You can see it from the trends on the thread. Some people will be only doing art and culture questions. All right, some people are only doing polity. A fair balance is very much required. All right, again, as I said, is so make sure that you're doing this. So this is all for now. I would want to, I'll send you maybe with this I'll follow up with another video where we'll be discussing revision techniques for the last month. All right, we'll be in the next video, we'll be doing revision techniques for prelims 2021. All right, thank you so much. And prelims 2020, and yes, please subscribe to the channel. No, not to increase the viewership, but subscribe to the channel so that when we premiere and go live, you get an email notification that this video is going to go live. So that will help us. All right, so subscribe the channel so that you get an update whenever we have this video. Otherwise, we need to set cumbersome emailers for informing everyone in case you're interested. All right, thank you so much. And um, the last thing that I would, uh, before ending this video, the last thing that I'd want to say is that see, we are rewarded in public for the hard work that we put in private. All right, I repeat that we are rewarded in public for the hard work that we put in private. So this is your private struggle. A lot of people will not see it. All right, but then once the results of this will come, then you will be rewarded publicly. And every single person whom you see, on YouTube or any topper talk or everything, I can tell you that they were in exactly the same situation as you are right now. And nobody was seeing the hard work that they were putting. Only when they got a single digit rank or a double digit rank or a 13 rank or a 14 rank or a 15 rank, then the world recognized them. So this will happen with you as well. All right. So this is your private struggle has to be your own. Nobody else will do it for you. All right. And remember that a person who performs in the Olympics does not, and who makes a world record in the Olympics, is not making that record for the first time in the Olympics, it is actually not his best performance. There will be multiple times where he will break this record in his private practice but will not be counted for. All right, he is so good that he's breaking the record multiple times in the private practice, but that is not accounted for in his private practice at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. All the athletes. All right, only when they break it in the Olympics, then it is counted. So you have to be good enough so that you're breaking the, you're clearing the cutoff multiple times in practice before you are actually clearing it for the prelims examination. All right. Thank you so much.